Isn't it true, Mrs. ADANNA Ano, that on the night in question you aggressively stabbed your deceased husband multiple times?
I was only trying to defend myself.
That doesn't answer the question. The report on the autopsy conducted on your husband shows he received multiple stab wounds to his chest and stomach. So I think you stabbed your husband once and you enjoyed it. You could have stopped yourself after the first stabbing, but instead, you continue stabbing him with every intention of killing him.
Objection, Your Honor. Clearly, the prosecution is leading the witness.
Objection sustained. The prosecution is to stop badgering the witness and stick to a direct line of questioning.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Mrs. Ano, can you tell this honorable court in your own words what transpired on Tuesday, the 14th day of February 2017 between you and your husband that led to his death?
Welcome back to Shemek TV. I am Ndidi Inke, and with me here is
Akiyemi Damola.
Thank you. So, Ms. Adeola, your placard says fight against the degradation of women in the workplace and the school environment.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so can you enlighten us on what exactly it means for a woman to be degraded in a workplace or school environment?
Well, in the organization, we have women who have been sexually abused in their places of work and in schools. As a woman, the possibility of having to go the extra mile to please your boss is rather on the high side. You work so hard and yet other male colleagues that don't do as much as you get promoted while you remain in the same spot just because you don't want to shift your pants. Then we have ladies in the university, for instance, whose lecturer make it mandatory for them to have sex with them before they can get good grades. Now, this one is particularly tricky because you're having a class and your lecturer or fellow student casually touches your breast or smacks your buttocks from time to time, and you don't consider it as any form of harassment because apparently these days that is the normal behavior.
Thank you. So, what can you say that your organization is doing specifically to help women in these areas?
Well, we do our best to create awareness and through protests like this, and also to encourage women to speak up about things like this. Some women don't even know they are being degraded, while some don't even know how to handle it when it does happen. Our society is patriarchal in nature and it's greatly biased against the female gender. We can't pretend we don't see it.
So, when these women speak up, what measure or measures can you say that your organization takes to help them? Is there any legal action if necessary?
Definitely. We have people specifically for legal matters. Things like this can't particularly be overlooked. So most times we pursue legal actions. It's rather a sad society we live in.
See, I completely agree with you. Now, some of the ladies that I have been opportune to talk to have gone through a great deal of pain, and it is inexcusable. Now, madam, I'm yet to hear your thoughts on the ongoing case against ADANNA Ano. Now, madam, do you think that even if she claims to have committed the crime as an act of self-defense, that she will be given the capital punishment? After all, madam, it is a capital offense.
Well, I believe she'll be given the capital punishment. I agree with you. Murder is a capital offense. But for someone who endured that much abuse, I would say some sort of leniency be unveiled. I don't think anyone who has endured that much abuse can still be psychologically well.
So, madam, are you saying that she killed her husband because she was psychologically unstable?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I just hope that they are being lenient with her because she has gone through enough abuse to not deserve that at least.
Okay, so now, madam, by leniency, what are you saying? Are you saying a reduced sentence, a life sentence, or no sentence at all?
Well, I really can't say. I will leave that in the hand of the judge. I believe he's more than capable of doing what is right.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Adeola, and I hope to speak to you after the verdict is passed.
So over to you, Mrs. Ahmed. Are you telling us now that it is okay to obtain pardon or clemency for crimes committed just because they presumably fall under the umbrella of self-defense?
Now, don't get me wrong. A crime is a crime, and there should be due punishment for every crime committed. But for cases like this very one, where the crime is committed in form of self-defense, I would certainly say some form of leniency be enforced. ADANNA Ano is a woman that we can all agree from the story we've heard has suffered a great deal of abuse from her late husband, Fidelis Ano, from physical abuse to sexual abuse. And let's not even forget about the psychological abuse she has suffered. I am not making an excuse for her crime, but but it was done in form of self-defense, and she deserves mercy, at least.
Now, as the head of the Lagos chapter for the Nigerian Organization Against the Violation of Rights of Women and Children, you have mobilized this protest as a sort of plea for pardon and a reduced sentence for ADANNA Ano, who might be facing a life sentence or even a death sentence after the ongoing trial of the murder of her husband, Fidelis Ano.
Yes, the organization is here to peacefully protest for clemency and also to create awareness on the various ways the rights of women and children are violated on a daily basis. Now, each child and woman out there is holding a placard signifying ways their rights have been violated. And if help had not come to them on time, they might as well be in the same situation as ADANNA Ano is today.
Pardon my question. Are you telling us that each and every one of these women and children have been sexually and physically violated?
Now, this is where we get it wrong. We assume the only way the rights of women and children can be violated is through domestic violence or rape. But believe me when I say there are various ways the rights of women and children are violated. Just the way I would want you to believe when you speak to certain people out there today. There are various cases of gender-based violence, day in, day out, that do not even reach the organization at all. Be it in form of child marriage, child trafficking, women trafficking, and so much more.
Thank you very much for your time, Mrs. Ahmed. I hope I can get some other time to discuss some of these issues with you. Over to you, Miss Alima. Can you tell us your story? When exactly did you reach out to the organization?
I reached out to the organization a little over 10 years ago, and that was the hardest thing I had to do. When you're forced into a marriage or relationship, you live in constant fear that the person you're married to literally owns you, and your family has sold you off. People hear stories like mine and say, why didn't you run, or why did you not make a report? When in truth, there's no one to run to.
So how did your family react to the fact that you reached out to the organization?
Oh, they were not pleased. My father hasn't spoken to me in years. In fact, the last thing I remember him telling me was how I was no longer his child, and my mother was a child bride, so there was really nothing she could say. Whatever my father says is final.
And your husband, how did he react when he found out that you reached out to the organization?
He was beyond furious. He threatened to kill me, and he would have eventually killed me because I was just 12 at the time. This man in question was a year or two away from 50. Every time I misbehaved, he would beat me as a corrective measure. I was so terrified, but I knew I had to take my chances because I wasn't feeling alive anymore. It was really hard to live with him. Now, this is it. Living with him was like, I didn't even know, I really don't know what to say, but I knew that living with him was hell. Even after breaking free from him and going as far as getting a restraining order, I still lived in constant fear that this man will one day come back to get me, kill me, or worse, take me back to live with him.
So how exactly did you reach out to the organization, seeing as you barely had any form of education?
There was a protest like this one in my little market once. I was there to get a few things. Auntie Jalila was there, but speaking in Hausa, she was way younger then. Somehow I believed in her. Maybe because I was desperate to believe in something. To believe in anything. After the protest, I walked up to her. I told her how I was feeling. It helped because I wasn't the only one there. Child marriage is still practiced till date. Most of the girls that were at the protest together backed out because they were scared for their lives and the lives of their little children.
So did you ever have a child?
Yes, I did have a child. I was pregnant when I was 11, but the child was born dead due to a virus I contacted from my husband. The pregnancy was a very trying one, I must say. I suffered severe tiredness, uneasiness, lack of appetite, fever, but my senior wife said it was normal with pregnancy. After the death of my child, my husband subjected me to constant physical abuse with the help of my senior wife, because for some reasons I was the cause of my child to die because I was careless. Now this is it. It is not only women that suffer domestic violence. Children suffer as well. Children are trafficked day in, day out. Young girls are mutilated and married off at ridiculous ages. Female children are deprived of quality education. Infanticide is still practiced in a great number of states. Now, this is the problem. Everyone thinks that everyone is solving the problem, when in actual sense, nothing is being done and the problem keeps getting bigger and bigger. I would like to tell our parents watching this protest to protect our children, because the way we treat them goes a long way in shaping who they become in future. I got lucky because I had this opportunity. Most people would not get that opportunity.
Thank you very much for your time, Miss Salima. I did not get your surname. Is that an engagement ring I see on your finger? Is your fiancé here?
Your daughter, in her testimony, stated that she was physically abused by your late husband. Can you attest to that?
Yes. He would hit her from time to time until he sent her to the school hostel.
And where were you when he supposedly abused your daughter?
I tried my best to protect her. And this would get me my own share of beatings, even hospitalization. The records are there. My lawyer has presented that as evidence.
No further questions, Your Honor. The prosecution rests.